democracy as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So then we open up for questions, and the first question comes from the Norwegian broadcaster TV2.
So, Fairuz Shamdid from TV2 Norway. I have a question for you, Maria Corina Machado. You arrived just a few hours ago and you got to reunite with your family in a very long time. How was that first meeting and how has your first hours in Oslo been? Thank you.
I couldn't sleep last night, going over and over again that first instant when I saw my children. And for many weeks, I had been thinking of that possibility and which one of them I would hug first. And to tell you something, I hugged them the three at the same time, and it's been one of the most extraordinary spiritual moments of my life. And that happened in Oslo, so I'm very grateful to this city, something I will never forget, because at the end, I'm just one of millions of Venezuelan mothers that are longing to embrace their children and are not able to do that. That brings us together. And I made a promise to them. I would come here on their behalf to receive the prize, and I will take that prize back to them, because we will make it what I experienced hours ago. We will make it a reality for every one of them, those that have their children in jail, persecuted, in exile. We will make that happen.
The next question comes from the Swedish broadcaster, Sveriges Radio.
Hello, David Rasmussen, Swedish Radio. Yesterday, the US seized a ship outside the coast of Venezuela. Would you welcome a US military intervention in Venezuela?
Look, some people talk about invasion in Venezuela, the threat of an invasion in Venezuela, and I answered, Venezuela has been already invaded. We have the Russian agents, we have the Iranian agents, we have terrorist groups such as Hezbollah, Hamas, operating freely in accordance with the regime. We have the Colombian guerrilla, the drug cartels that have taken over 60% of our populations, and not only involved in drug trafficking, but in human trafficking, in networks of prostitution. So this has turned Venezuela into the criminal hub of the Americas. And what sustained the regime is a very powerful and funded, strongly funded repression system. Where does that funds come from? Well, from drug trafficking, from the black market of oil, from arms trafficking, for human trafficking. We need to cut those flows. And once it happens and repression is weakened, it's over, because that's the only thing the regime has left, violence and terror. So we ask the international community to cut those sources, because the other regimes that support Maduro and the criminal structure are very active and had turned Venezuela into the safe haven for their operations into the rest of Latin America. Thank you.
The next question comes from the Norwegian broadcaster NRK.
From Norwegian Broadcasting. You have had meetings with politicians at the Norwegian Parliament and Prime Minister Stoere this morning. Have you asked for any kind of support from the Norwegian government for your fight for democracy in Venezuela?
We had a great conversation this morning, and I am very excited also with what I experienced at the Parliament. I am a former member of the Parliament, and to see an actual Parliament working, with representatives of parties in all the spectrum, passionately and respectfully defending their views is something I means so much. And yes, the answer is yes. Not only right now, we need to speak out, to tell the truth, so that people understand what our country is suffering, what our political prisoners are going through. Children in Venezuela only go twice a week to public schools because teachers earn $1 a day. So they have to get other jobs. So we have our children in the streets, and you know what it means in terms of their future and the risks they run. So yes, we need to speak out. We need to cut these resources that support repression now, but also we will need a lot of ideas and advice regarding, building up institutions such as the energy agency that we want to build in Venezuela for the new hydrocarbon sector that will, arise in our country.
Can I just follow up to say that the laureate does not have to ask for that support, because we respect the will of the Venezuelan people, and that is clear. They expressed under very difficult circumstances their views in an election, which gave, according to all sources, international and domestic, overwhelming response. They want another course. They want a democratic regime. And for Norway, respecting the rule of law and the main principles of the UN Charter is key. So we want to see that change happen. I think what we learned from these days, talking to not only Venezuelan guests but also representatives of Latin America, is that you need a combination of what comes from inside and what comes from outside. And we are from outside, and we are of course ready to support Venezuela, democratic Venezuela, in building new and sound institutions. They can count on that.
And the last question today comes from CNN.
Hi, Maria Corina. I'm Pau Mosquera with CNN. So now you've been in hiding for many, many months. Do you think that the government may have known where were you during this time?
I don't think they have known where I have been, and certainly they would have done everything to stop me from coming here. And actually, I want to take advantage of your question to thank all those men and women that risked their lives so that I could be here today. One day I will be able to tell you, because certainly I don't want to put them in risk right now. It was quite an experience, but I think it's worthwhile being here with you, telling the world what's happening in Venezuela, what it means to you as Norwegians and as Europeans, or from all the places where you come from, why Venezuela matters for the world. I mean, when you fight for freedom, you're fighting for humanity. And when we win, because we will, this will be an extraordinary example for those countries that today do not have freedom, and that people are telling them what we used to hear, that it was impossible to achieve it. And we decided to fight until the end, and Venezuela will be free. And of course, it's worthwhile. And when I go back, the regime will, well, there are two possibilities, certainly where the regime will be, but if it's still in power, certainly I will be with my people, and they will not know where I am. We have ways to do that and take care of us.
Sorry. Well, so this is the end of this press conference. So
I think we're going to have another conference right now, and I'm going to speak in Spanish if I want to respect the decisions of the Prime Minister.
Great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.